The penultimate college football playoff rankings came out Tuesday heading into championship weekend. Clemson still won. It's Alabama 2. Oklahoma presumably already into the playoff at 3. Iowa's at 4. I'm Brian Clark at CineSport talking about it all with Ralph Russo. He covers college football for the AP. Ralph, one thing we haven't talked too much about, Clemson's unbeaten at number 1, but if they lose the ACC Championship Game to a pretty good North Carolina team, do they fall out of the top 4?
I think so. The ACC in general is not that strong, though. Clemson's got some good wins on their resume with Florida State and with Notre Dame. But I do think if you remove the conference championship element of this, and remember, if the teams are comparable, conference champion does mean a lot. If you remove that piece of the puzzle, and then you add, let's say, Stanford sitting there as even though it has 2 losses as a conference champion of the Pac-12, which is a little better, plus Stanford also beat Notre Dame. Maybe that gets Ohio State back into the mix. It even becomes an argument that maybe you just replace Clemson with North Carolina. I think it's fair to ask the question, is Clemson a lock if it plays well and loses? But I just feel like if you take away the conference championship, it really changes the dynamic. So if I'm the Tigers, you don't want to press that theory. You really don't want to test that.
Yeah, so you kind of mentioned my next point. So you look at the 3 big contenders. Basically, that Big Ten championship game is essentially a play-in, either Iowa or Michigan State. But out of Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Stanford, does Stanford have the best chance from that group because they're playing this weekend for a conference championship and the other 2 schools aren't?
I think so. I think Notre Dame's probably locked out. I think Ohio State is in the mix if some upsets happen, like with Clemson or Alabama. I think the thing with Stanford and Ohio State being so close, 6 and 7, now you add the element of a conference championship for Stanford playing this weekend, but no conference championship for Ohio State out of the mix. That probably weighs into Stanford's favor, plus Stanford's overall schedule is a little better. So I think even though we look at the rankings and see Ohio State at 6 and think they're on deck, I think the Buckeyes are probably going to get shut out here, even if some of the chaos that we think isn't likely to happen does happen.
So finally, heading into conference championship weekend, Oklahoma's already locked up the Big 12. Is this the way this system is supposed to work? Is this gone off perfectly this year where you've got 3 teams playing for conference championships and presumably a berth in the playoff and then 1 conference champion already there?
I think it is, for the most part. Now, Notre Dame is obviously a wild card here, and I think that Notre Dame could conceivably get in other years if it wins out or things break certain ways and it's 11-1. But I do tend to think that this system is built to reward the 4 best teams that win a conference. That you're going to have to be a really outstanding and unusually good team to not win a conference but still get into this system. This thing, I think, is set up to reward the conference champions and to also create something of a quarterfinal weekend on conference championship weekend.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to that weekend. Ralph Russo of the AP. Thanks, Ralph.